So glad to have you here with us today for another webinar on technology. As you know, this has been our series for November. One thing I want to mention real quick is a request that at the end of our webinar, if you would please be sure to complete the evaluation link. We will be posting that in the chat box. You will have a link for adults as a choice for our providers, professionals, adults who have joined us, teachers. Then we will also have a link there for the youth. So any youth that are on with us, if you could please take the time and complete those. It's really important that we have this information in order to be able to assist us as we move ahead with our project, as well as making sure that we're making any necessary changes and improvements and bettering the information that we're offering to all of you. So it's really important to be able to complete those. And I know it takes extra time and you all have a lot to do, but it is really quite important. And thank you so much for that as well. So today assisting with our webinar is Lori Sandene. So she is our newest transition specialist who's been hired to assist us here in Tucson. And then we also have Gabe Martinez and Kevin Matsunaga, who are both also going to be assisting us with the presentation. And they are both, you know, youth, and therefore you guys are able to relate well to them and all of what they have to share. And I'm sure that's going to also be very helpful to you folks. So at this point, we're going to move forward. Sorry, I have like a fly here. It's been a little warmer, so I had my window open, and I think that that's, yeah, they help themselves in. So let's see here. Jeff, can you put the PowerPoint up for us, please? And again, as always, please use the chat box and know that you can raise your hand. And we love for this to be participatory and have you guys be a part. So we would love to have you guys you know, chat with us and be responsive to questions and all of that.
I believe I am sharing it already. Is it, do you all see it?
Yes.
Okay. Wendy, do you not see it?
Okay. No, it's not up at all. Let me put.
Do you see it, Gabe? Yes. Okay.
That's odd. Okay. Never ever have I not seen a screen share. Okay. So I'm gonna open, that's okay.
We can move on to this. Go ahead and go to the second slide and I'll do the introductions. That works. So we're going to do something a little different for this introduction. It's like what Wendy said before. I'm new. And so I'm so happy to meet all of you, and I'm excited to work with you on hopefully getting some experience or teaching you about social media today. So I want everyone who's on the call to type in the chat box. We're going to do a chat call out. So type in the chat box, what social media do you use most? Or just in general, oh, look at that, people are coming in. So type in this, what social media you use most. Facebook and LinkedIn are coming in. Victor uses Reddit. Kira, good, Snapchat and YouTube. If you don't want to chat, if you don't want to put it in the chat, you can say it out loud as well. WhatsApp for family members. I use WhatsApp too. That's a great app. What else are people using? Instagram, YouTube and Facebook only. Good. Alicia says Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, and YouTube. What are some other social media people are using? Noah says usually Facebook, but I don't do it that often. No, that's okay. That's good to probably not do it that often. Twitter, Pinterest. Chris Burns says Pinterest. That's a great one. Wendy and I like Pinterest.
Pinterest is great.
Yeah, perfect. Well, great. Thanks for sharing today what social media you use. So as we go about this webinar today, be thinking about those social media that you just mentioned and those profiles and those pages that you have as we get ready get ready for employment with those, or to keep those in mind about what kind of things social media and what employers are looking for or might be looking at on your social media. So great, thank you.
And as we're moving ahead with our presentation, given the fact that some of you have the experience with these different apps, we may be asking for you to share some examples and information as well to teach others as we're going through, since you're familiar with those apps. Okay, so we have slide 3 up, showing social media profiles. So keep calm and clean up your social media. And so what we want to make sure of is just that you folks are making sure that you understand that when you're putting items on social media, that goes out there to so many other folks that really would be looking at your profile possibly when you're applying for a job. You don't want employers looking at a profile that isn't going to be clean. You want to make sure that your profiles are going to be professional because you're not going to have a very easy job in being able to acquire a job if your profiles are not cleaned up. So therefore, we want to show you more information about how to do that. And Kevin is going to share with us a little bit of information about what is important for what you do want to post and what you don't want to post for posts, right? What else would we call those? For entries on our social page. Kevin, do you want to share some of those examples with us?
Yes. So there's actually a lot of good reasons why you should be careful on what you post on like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or whatever. In fact, the best way to clean up your profile is to just not post whatever, like text or images or videos or whatever that may be inappropriate, as in don't do that at first go, because unfortunately, even if you do delete them, it'll just like somehow just stay on the stay known to the whole world, maybe even to the whole world for like a very long time, to maybe even forever. In fact, most of the time it's usually like forever. And to kind of generalize why you should be careful is because unfortunately lots of people in this country, in this world, especially in this country, can be what's called overly sensitive and judgmental, as in it may take just one image or just one word to like make them get really angry at you about it,
Mm-hmm.
even if you don't really mean it.
Okay, thank you, Kevin. That's awesome. So it sounds like it really makes sense for us to be very careful what we're posting because people can get pretty passionate about items that are put up out there. So thank you very much. That's perfect. Okay, so our next slide, number 4, is going to show you folks how it is that you're able to change your privacy settings so that you, and this is in Facebook itself, so that you're able to make sure that you're not posting with everybody. You do have some control on what it is that you're putting on when you're putting items up, who it goes to. So this screenshot here of a Facebook account shows you that by simply going into the settings portion of Facebook, and then you're going to go over where you see this little number 1. There's going to be a little link there that you're going to be able to push on, right, with the little gear. And when you click on that, it's going to bring up settings. From there, number 2, you see where it says privacy shortcuts, your activity. This is where you're going to be able to change your settings so that it can go simply to your closest of friends and family. You can have it go to your acquaintances, or you could have it go public. And so does anybody in the chat at this point have any other information about how to be able to prevent and use your privacy settings? I know that in the chats, you guys are using some different types of social profiles that, you know, others may not be as you know, familiar with. So Victor says, safest just to make yourself private. So that's true. Private just to your own friends, you know, and then you don't have such a concern on where that information is going to be going. And like Kevin said, that information can be out there for a very long time. If an employer or a coworker, somebody wanted to go on your page and really search, they could scroll back for a period of time and get information. And we all change over the years, right? You're not the same person that you are now as you were 5 years ago. You're going to be putting up different information. You don't want people seeing everything from that past. You want them to know you for the skills and the improvements in who you are at this point in time. This also goes back to you being able to, you know, do some self-advocating for yourself. You're standing up for yourself by doing this. You're using your own voice. You're taking control of what you're putting out there. And when you're transitioning from youth to adulthood and making choices about work and school, you're going to be making these types of choices a whole lot more often. And so this is a really good start for you. So if we don't have anything else in the
Lindy, Kira says
chat.
that you can also, yeah, Kira says that on Instagram and Snapchat, you can also make your profile private as well. Great point. So I think all social media has availability to make privacy settings, to have privacy.
Right.
Good point, Kira.
Perfect. Thank you for adding that. Okay, and we have Michaela saying that she uses it all the time to post her arts. So that's a perfect example of something that would be great to be able to post. If you have an extra skill, such as arts, putting that out there in your social profile will show future employers, show future teachers, the fact that you're well-rounded, that you have other skills, and those skills can be useful as you're looking for work. So anything that shows that you have a lot of extra things going on that improves you is going to be something that will help you in the future. Now it looks like a couple of other people are saying that they also do the same thing. So that's perfect. Thank you so much, you guys. Let's see, we're going to go to our next slide, number 5. And this is kind of going over what we've been talking about, that you're known through your posts. And this is just giving out specific examples that we've already mentioned, and in a little more detail on what you don't want to be putting out there. So posts which are negative and can be disrespectful, crude humor, any racist, sexist, or off-color comments, pages that you favorite or likely will be visible on your page, and more than just Facebook. Like we said, always keep in mind all of these other apps that we've already
Can I say something?
put into the box. Of course.
It's something
Brian.
around, like, you know, social media in general. I feel
Go
like,
ahead.
I feel like almost a lot of, like, you know, my generation, Gen Z, when they're, like, you know, they were younger in the either late or early 2010s, are probably going to regret posting some things because they were like either very younger, like 14 to 12-year-olds online posting like inappropriate things. So I would see why we would, like, you know, be, like, you know, looking at ourselves at cringe. Like, it's normal. So it's good to delete some stuff and say, yes, I denounce what I've said back then. I think it's good to denounce stuff.
Absolutely. Thank you for mentioning that, Brian. So you're confirming what it is that we're saying, that as we get older, we don't want those things out there. We've changed, so we want to show that. Let's see, and Victor says that he has a lot of karma, so he guess he's popular on social media. And also it has been, Kira says that social media has been a big platform for bullying. And you're right, it's sad. People are going to find a way if they want to be that kind of a person and bullies are just always going to be there, unfortunately. But we do have a lot of supports out there, luckily, in order to be able to assist with that happening. And another reason to make sure that we have a good support system around us, right? Because that would be one of the areas that they can assist us.
Do you have a question, Michaela?
I do, and now you bring that up, bowling. Bowling has been cyberbullying in the internet have been just as real for everyone out. Like some people committed suicide because of that.
Yes, I think you make an excellent point, Michaela.
It's really sad, to be honest.
Yeah, and it's a good reminder. It's a good reminder for all of us that we should be posting and commenting positive things.
Mm-hmm.
And it could ruin your reputation. All you need. Well, to me, I know people have committed suicide because of it, but they need to learn how to stick up to themselves and to be tougher, actually, to stick up to bullying, actually. Instead of killing themselves, they should stand up to the bullying, no matter what.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and again, with your support system and with people around you, you can get all the tips and help in being able to do that. Again, being able to stand up for yourself in a way that's going to be healthy for you and the other individual, right?
I want to add to their comment.
Mm-hmm.
I think people should take cyberbullying very seriously when it comes to situations like that, because bullying can happen of anything, like, of your gender, of your sexual orientation, and especially if you have any disabilities, because I feel like a lot of the autistic community, no matter if they on the spectrum, it gets bullied a lot because they're treated differently, and I don't want to be in almost any one of us don't want to be treated like differently. We want to be treated as people, human. That's really what we want.
That's right. We all just want to be treated with respect. You're absolutely right, Brian. As humans, we're all equal, and we always want to be treated with respect. So thank you so much, Brian, for mentioning that. You're absolutely right. It is a serious issue, and it is something that we do need to make sure that we're always being cognizant of and aware of, and using our voice, even if it means to assist another. But we do just want to be sure that we're doing that in a way that's going to be healthy for ourselves and others. And the other thing with social media, once you turn it off and you see things on there, you can also block comments. You can block those that are putting things on your pages you don't want. It doesn't have to be out there just because somebody has posted it. But again, share with somebody, talk to another person. If you're being bullied online, reach out to others and let them know, let adults know, so they can be there and they can help you. Okay, so excellent. Thank you for your comments, you guys. Let's see, we're going to move on to our next slide, slide 6. I believe, Lori, you're going to speak to this one.
Yeah, so I wanted to speak about how employers look at your social media as well, because hopefully all of you guys are hoping that in the future you'll have a job and you can get a job. So there was a study done in 2017 And it said that 70% of employers hiring will check out your social media. So that's out of 10 employers, seven of those employers are going to check your social media out before hiring you. So it's really important that your social media represents positivity and you as a student that's professional. It also can show your strengths. So not only is it about making sure things aren't negative, but it's really important to put things that you're really good at. So I love people who are putting their artwork on there, especially if you're looking for creative work. That can show what some of your work is. So that's a really great idea to do good, nice, clean artwork. And remember that your social media is like a commercial for you. Like it's what people go to and see, and it's like representing you. So it's your commercial. We just need to make sure that your commercial says hire me to an employer, that I'm a good employee. And often they want to look at your social media and see if you're going to represent them well. Like, are you, let's just say that you put your artwork up and you're going to work for as a graphic designer. Let's just, as an example, they want to make sure that you're going to represent their business well as you're creating art for them. So it's really important that what not only that are you not posting negative things, that what you're posting and is positive and looks like it's something you would want to be if you were hiring somebody. Kira says that even artwork can help you technically get a job, and that's true. So suggestions, like Wendy said before, set your accounts to private. I think that's just a good idea anyway. That way they can look, only the people that you want to look at your stuff is looking. Take time to go through your social media profile. So this is a good reminder, this webinar, to go back and look through your social media and just to make sure. I know that I go through mine because, like Wendy said earlier, we kind of change over time and maybe we don't want that up there anymore, or it's not really what I believe anymore, because we change as people. So it's really good to take time and do that and delete any inactive accounts. That way the old things aren't just sitting out there. So you might have accidentally created 2 Snapchats and now you don't use one. Be sure you are deleting inactive accounts, and that you're posting appropriate things for an employer. I always just like to think if I was doing a job interview and people were looking at my social media, is it what I would hire? Make sure your photos are professional and clear. It's hard when they're like dark and you can't see you, or making sure that they're not having inappropriate gestures or backgrounds. So just kind of going through and making sure that your social media is positive and professional. Also, when there's an opportunity to have a bio, that's your opportunity to sell yourself or to say good things about yourself. It's an opportunity, and a lot of people leave that blank. So it's a good opportunity to go in there and actually have a place for you to write positive, good things about you. What are some of your abilities? What are some of your strengths? What are some things you enjoy doing? What are some chores that you think you're good at? Those are all great things that you can put in a bio that helps employers see what your strengths are. So it's a good place to do that. And be aware of who you follow. That can also, so it's not just about posting and your content, but also if, the people that you follow, the companies that you follow, that's important too. Keep that all in mind. Yes, Michaela, you have a question?
Yeah, I do have a question. I didn't know employee your job can look at your social media. That's something new.
Oh, good. I'm glad that you learned something, because it's out there online, and you can definitely, people can check it out. Noah says oh, go ahead, Michaela.
I'm sorry.
No.
You can go first.
I was just saying that Noah's saying that he needs to work on posting positive things. And Noah, I think I think it's great that you're aware of that, and now you can start doing it, because yes, it is super important.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, but isn't it like, but isn't it like private though of your private though of social media though?
So yeah, you just need to make sure that your social media is private and it's set to your settings, but it's still online. So be aware that doesn't mean that it's private, all like totally private.
Okay, then I have a lot of social media too. Social media beside Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.
Yeah, so you probably have a lot to manage. So this might be a good opportunity to go through all that social media, deactivate what you don't use, and make sure that if you were hiring you, it's what you would want to hire. And Victor says there are better socials for every person or people. Yes, that's true. But there are different places for different, that works better for each person. So some people like Snapchat, some people like Facebook. Whatever works for you, but make sure, just whatever it is, just make sure that you're positive and you're saying positive things and you're following a good group of people. Oh, okay. Thank you for the questions and for the comments. I really like that you guys are participating in the chat and asking good questions. That's good. Okay, next.
Excellent.
All right, hang on. Sorry, the video is not showing. Oh, no, maybe it is.
It's coming in slowly, it looks like, but it is coming up.
Oh, I have to open a window. Hang on. Do y'all see this?
Yes.
Okay, very good. All right, here we go.
How to clean up your online profile for a job interview. When posting or sharing content online with people you trust, it's easy to forget who else might be reading. It's common for today's employers to study the online profiles of their prospective employees, so it's important to be aware of what and how you post. Here are 5 tips to help you keep your reputation intact. First of all, identify the problem. Put yourself in the shoes of your future employer and type your name into search engines to see what comes up. Do the same with your social media profiles and look for anything that might look unprofessional. Remember, even an innocent in-joke can be misinterpreted by an outsider. Delete the bad stuff. The most obvious way of dealing with incriminating posts is to delete them. It may take some time to scroll through your social profiles manually, but it's the best way of finding and deleting anything you don't want an employer to see. It's also worth asking yourself if you really need each of those profiles. If you rarely use them, it might be easier to delete them altogether. Update your profiles. Once you're happy that any embarrassing posts have been removed, it's time to update your information and privacy settings. Profiles on networks like Facebook and Twitter should only give away the information that you need to, and you can further protect yourself by updating the privacy settings. Go to the settings pages of each network and make sure only your friends can see your posts. Create new accounts. While it might be easy to hide content that you've posted yourself, not all information online is as easy to erase. One solution to this problem is to create new content that shows you in a positive light. For instance, blogs or websites under your name are a good way of boosting your Google ranking and present an opportunity to impress rather than repel employers. Monitor your online presence. Once you're happy with your online presence, stay on top of it. A very good way to protect yourself from online slander is to monitor your reputation. By setting up Google Alerts, you can be notified every time your name is mentioned online. This saves you the hassle of manually searching every time and means you can react quickly. That's it for our How to Clean Up Your Online Profile. But for more top tips, videos, news, and views, visit WeLiveSecurity.com.
Hey, Jeff,
Excellent.
I was
Thank you so
wondering,
much, Jeff.
Jeff, there's a question
Yeah,
in the
go
chat. I
ahead,
was
Lori.
wondering, there's a question in the chat, Jeff, and I was wondering if you could answer it. Kira asks, what happens if you have an old account that you don't have the passwords anymore and can't deactivate them? Victor says it goes into obscurity.
That's a good question. Sometimes you can reach out to, like if it's Facebook or Twitter, you can reach out to them. Like if they have a support line or desk, you can send them an email saying, hey, I don't know my password, and the way to, request a new password, I don't even remember the email address I used for it. Sometimes Facebook or Twitter or any of the social media sites can send you that information. But yeah, it's your mileage may vary.
Yeah. I think it's important to know, though, it does sit, I mean, even if you don't deactivate it, or it's still sitting there. It's gonna be
Right,
there.
that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Mhm.
Thank you. Thanks for asking, Kira.
So one other thing that I want to mention that the video did state was that we also want to be sure that we're searching for our name every once in a while on Google or on a search engine. It doesn't hurt to go into that, into Google search or another search, and just put your name down and make sure that the information that comes up just online on the web is good information and something that you want to have out there. Just monitoring that every once in a while is helpful. You don't know what others are seeing, and in this way you want to do what the video just said, is identify the problem, and then you have an opportunity to fix it. So let's see, next slide we had is don't forget your email address. So we've shared information at this point as far as social media profiles. The other thing that we have to be careful of is our email addresses are not always email addresses that we would want everybody to see. So if we could go to the next slide, Jeff. And so first off, we have Kevin, who's just going to share a little bit of information here in regards to emails and addresses. And then after that, Gabe has a little bit of information he's going to share with us. So Kevin, take it away.
Well, at first, I didn't realize that it's important to have one or more than one account for like each, for have like its own purposes. I didn't realize that that was important until recently, but I guess in a way it is, because you need, I guess, a different account for like one for like personal use. So for like getting in contact with people you're familiar with, like friends or family members. You'll need another one for like school, like especially for colleges like Pima College or the U of A. And you need one for, I guess, for work. And right now I have 3 accounts. One is for personal use, which is Google. I have one for the U of A for work, and I also have one for Pima College when I was going to Pima College.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Thank you, Kevin, for sharing that. Gabe, do you have some information you can share with us also?
Yeah. So if they have like work email, or laptop, or the personal one on the phone, the work one, it helps you just for work and keep you organized. On a phone email is for the personal use, even though it receives like junk mail.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Thank you, Gabe, for sharing where your different accounts are and how they help you. And I know you mentioned the fact that there are times that, like on your phone email, your personal one, you have a lot of junk mail coming in. We will be talking also with how you can clean that junk email out of your accounts so that you're much more able to navigate and be organized with your accounts. So let's see, Laura, you were going to share specific examples of the slide itself?
Yep, so this is just a fun slide of about emails that you should not, of examples of emails you shouldn't use. And mostly they're funny and they kind of, I understand why people like them, but they're not for when you're looking for jobs and they're not professional. So I wanted to make, just kind of show you examples. I know that personally I have 3 accounts and one of them is probably falls into this category, but it's for my family, right? Or friends and I use it for personal use, not for when I'm looking for a job or school or anything like that. So, but like I love Elijah Wood forever. That's not necessarily a bad email, right? But it's probably not the best one for professional use. And really what we only recommend for when you're looking for work and for professional, and I want to say that I would consider students, when you're doing your student accounts too, it should be just a version of your first and last name. So there's some examples up there that says hannah.smith@gmail is one example, or you could just use your initial. Kira says, make sure your email is something you can remember. That's a great tip because you're going to be giving that out. So you want to be sure that you can remember it. So the main do of this is for student accounts and for work reasons to be sure that it's just a version of your name. Save those fun ones and funny ones for just family. So real quick, the don'ts, which I think are, that you don't want things that contain body parts, curse words, reference to things like sex or negative things, like video games, or not that video games are negative, but not in a professional email. So just keep it to your name and keep those fun email names to just family and friends.
Can I ask something real quick?
Sure.
Yes, Thomas.
So all my emails are basically kind of the same. They all have my first name, last name, but then they have numbers at the end. Is that okay?
Yeah, having a number that you relate to is just fine.
I mean, a number, like it's usually 6 numbers.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yep, as long as it doesn't include anything similar to the examples that we have on the slide. But yeah, it's true. I mean, there are a lot of people out there and actually have the same name. So sometimes you can put in a name and you're trying to get your name as your email. And sometimes you have to choose some numbers in order to allow it to go through. So that absolutely makes sense. And we have
be sure to check your email constantly so you don't miss important ones. That's a great tip too.
Mm-hmm.
Especially student and work ones, right? Because you don't want to forget that there's an assignment that's due or something.
Yeah, I literally put all my email addresses on this phone, so every time I get an email, it just rings off.
Great idea.
Woke me up at like 11 p.m. last night, not because of an email, because of something else. And then once an email I've been trying to block for quite some time, and then when I go to block it, it never comes up anymore. It came out at 3 or 12 a couple days ago, and I finally was able to block it. It was a survey site they say to sign up for a long time ago. But I don't sign up for those.
Yeah.
Because I was like 12 then, so I finally blocked it a couple of days ago, the last one.
Good for you. Good idea to block. Okay, next slide.
So this is
Oh, shoot.
just also a reminder for us about the fact that we want to make sure that we are managing our emails when we're looking for work. And as we said, you want a separate account for your work, as well as maybe for your support system or for family and friends, a separate account for school, and then updating your new address as well on your email, resumes and cover letters. So if you guys have started to look for work, or if you have profiles out there that maybe have the older addresses on them that weren't as professional, remember to go back to those places and update those so that now that you do realize the importance of having a professional email, you can make those changes. And again, that's you taking control, being your own self-advocate, using your voice and making changes as you're able to do so, as you're learning to do that now. Let's see, and next slide, please. Thank you. So this slide is giving us information about how it is that we can unsubscribe to those emails that we're getting in our box. So there are times that you're getting, as Gabe said, all that junk email, and then the surveys that Thomas was just talking about. It is possible, yes, you can go and you can block those. You can drop them into spam, although you're then always having to have them build in spam. Or what you can do is you can go to the very bottom of most all emails, if they're like newsletters and items you have not requested, maybe you did and now you don't want them anymore, and you will find an unsubscribe button on most all of those emails. And then what happens is you won't be getting those anymore at all. You won't have to deal with them in spam or anywhere. And sometimes it takes 2 to 4 weeks, I think, in order for that to take place. They don't immediately stop them from coming out of email. It takes a little time. So I would say don't give up on unsubscribing to places, because over time, it does make a difference. And you will see that you are decreasing the amount of emails that you're receiving that you don't want to receive anymore. Next slide, please. So when we are in our email boxes, one thing that we wanted you to know is that there are certain ways in order to be able to organize your email folders. And in order to stay organized, in order to know what you have coming in, not to lose those documents, you flag messages. So whether you use Outlook or Google, many of the different email options have a little flag that you can click. And what that does is it saves that email to the above and to the front of all others, so that when you know that you have something really important you're going to be referencing, looking back on often, you want to flag it, then you can easily find it when you need it. The other thing you can do is create folders. So when we put a number of different folders inside the inbox, then you can drag and drop emails about those specific topics into the folder you've created. So for example, in my email folder for work, I have a folder for schools, I have a folder for webinars, a folder for businesses. It's just very helpful, again, so that if you don't want to go through the flag system, you can then go into folders and you can just organize all of your items that way. The other thing that you can do is save your items to your calendar. So if you're really good at organizing your emails, it means also you know where you need to be, when you need to be there. As you guys are growing up and you're becoming more important, you're always important, as you're growing more independently, that's the word we want, then you're able to know where you need to be. You're going to be making your own appointments. You're going to be scheduling certain things on your calendar. And when you get reminders of those in your email, drag and drop those onto your calendar. That way, you always know where you need to be. Let's say, for example, whenever you register for all of our webinars. And I know that there's been some issue here and there with folks finding the links after you've registered. What you can do when you receive that email saying, yes, you're registered, is you can put that right over on your calendar. And then on the morning of every day, you go to your calendar, you're going to see exactly what you have scheduled. You're going to have that link available to log on. You're not going to have any problems scurrying around, having to go back to another person, ask them, maybe your teacher. It's great you have them for support now. They're willing to help you for sure. As you guys are registering, if you're organizing your items and try some of these tips, that may also help you out for being able to go through this process of connecting with our webinars. So one other item I wanted to mention is using tasks. So when we had our webinar Tuesday, I spoke a little bit about the tasks item. And we will be setting that PowerPoint out to everybody as well, so that you will have that with all the links from Tuesday as was requested. And that tasks will help you to be able to organize your items. Let's see, can we have next slide, please? Let's see. Actually, I'm sorry, Jeff. You know what? I see that we actually have Gabe, who's going to share a little bit of information on that last slide that we had. So, Gabe, don't let me skip over you if we have you down to be able to share. So, can you share with us a little bit on this slide? What information were you going to offer us?
So, if you check your emails, like every, on a laptop or on a phone, just create folders to make myself organized.
Yep, so we can stay organized when we're using all of the different folders, right? And creating folders helps you to stay organized, right? Okay, and then the calendar feature, it's also helpful with putting things onto the calendar from our emails.
Right.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you, Gabe. Let's see, okay, and now I think we're ready for our next slide. So the other thing we want you guys to all be aware of is the fact that when we're online, we want to also throw in fun stuff for you to realize, okay? That kind of goes along with improving ourselves, bettering ourselves, and we can do that through technology. And one thing we wanted to mention is that there are a lot of things you can do online, even such as learning hobbies. You can do that through Instagram, YouTube, all kinds of different places where we can learn different things that'll then help us out when we're moving on and looking again for work or continuing on with school. I mean, one thing that I can offer as an example is that at one point I had learned how to knit online. Granted, somebody taught me first time, then I forgot. And then I ended up going online, watching video in order to be able to learn how to do that. I'm sure that some of you have also learned some different things online. I know, Gabe, you were going to share a little bit. What is it that you learned how to do online as a hobby that can be helpful to you?
I was going to on YouTube to learn how to make a professional call for work.
Okay. Yep, so on YouTube, you were able to see a place where you're able to learn how to make phone calls properly for work. That's not a hobby, that's like a pretty important skill, right? For us to be able to know for our own employment. And knowing how to speak properly and professionally when we're on the telephone can help us in a lot of different areas. When we're at school, you want to know that when you're talking to your doctors, you want to be able to do that properly for speaking with anybody in your support system. So excellent. It's good to know that we can learn how to do that online. Kevin, what is it that you learned how to do online?
I learned to cook certain meals or certain dishes on YouTube, like everything from like how to prep it, how to prep the ingredients needed to make this meal, and then at the same time how to cook them.
Perfect. Well, that's a pretty important item to learn how to do, is to be able to cook, and to be able to learn how to do that online and to cook a meal from online. That's awesome, Kevin.
Noah
I
says that he learned how to fix electronics online. And Kira says that she learned to make
Perfect.
bracelets and how to draw. And Kira, and also set up her Xbox, And Michaela,
Excellent. Very cool.
Yeah, Michaela learned to draw as well, so that's excellent.
Very good. You guys are going to have a chance to share with us now what it is you guys have learned online. What we're going to do is we're going to go to the Mentimeter, and thank you guys for adding those into the chat box. You're going to have a chance now to go into Mentimeter. We're going to have a word cloud. And what we want you to do is to list all the different items that you've learned how to do online. And so I know Jeff is working to pull that one up for us. And we've already given the codes for that as well. So the codes are 18, 02, 81, and 6. When you go to menti.com. And Jeff just put that into the chat box for us. Thank you, Jeff. So feel free to start adding your items in there. It's fun to see all the different things that we are able to do online. Some of you may end up thinking, oh my gosh, I didn't know you could do that online. I really like that idea. And so you guys can go out and you can search for those items yourselves and learn. And remember what I had said earlier, which is why I think it's so important for you guys to know this, is anything that you're doing to improve yourselves is going to help you when you go to work and when you are continuing on with school. And so we have transferable skills, which you'll learn about at another webinar at another time. And you'll see how helpful it can be. So do we have anybody adding to the, here it is. We have one person that said bake cookies. That's a fun thing to learn how to do. Painting, one of my favorites. Yay. I know we have a lot of artists out there. We've had a lot of folks talking about their artwork. Make things like slime, somebody just, Alicia said in the chat box. And Noah says that he likes to look up images online to draw and then to free draw drawings rather than tracing. So he's doing free draw by looking up images online. Excellent, Noah. You learned Minecraft, okay? Yep. Woo. Set up Xbox. We've got lots happening now. Make loop bracelets. Find vacations. I love that one. Book flights. Google stuff. Coding. Excellent, you guys. Building computers. There's so much out there. Excellent. I see some of you are saying that you're going to have to be taking off. I know it's 10 o'clock, and if you've got to go to another class, we understand, or another spot. Sorry that you're having trouble there, Steve, with your hotspot, but you have a great turkey day also. I love seeing all of these. Wow, you guys are adding a whole lot on here about what you like to do online. Learning how to do 3D animate online. Very cool. Excellent. Thank you all for sharing. You can continue adding. I think that you can continue adding to this as we move forward on to our next. That way I can still be cognizant and, you know, your time is important. So we've talked a little bit here. I'm not going to keep us a whole lot longer. I just wanted to make sure that you understood that we are able to have interests and hobbies developed by going online, and how well that can improve ourselves as we move forward in life. And then next slide, please. Offers a lot of examples, links, resources on where you could go online in order to do some other items. I will be forwarding the PowerPoint once again, so you all will have these links if you want to learn how to play guitar, learn a language, learn magic. A lot of the other ones that I have on here, you guys have mentioned some of those, how to make jewelry. And so I just wanted to, again, like I said, let you know what else is available to be able to do. So we'll get this information out to you. Do you guys have any questions? I know that you guys are going to be running off to other classes, and we have a focus session that'll be coming up. I'll be sending that link to our schools that have joined us to participate.
Noah has a question.
Okay, Noah.
Well, it's not really a question, but it's something that I do online. The reason, the reason why I look up images every time I draw, because I can get some ideas from those images.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can get great ideas from online. So yeah, thank you for sharing.
I look up images just to get ideas.
Great idea.
Yeah.
Very good, Noah. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so all of you can see that we've put up the QR code and the link. So for youth, you'll see on the screen at the very top, we've got the QR code listed for you. If you're an adult, then the QR code is the one on the bottom. And we've also listed in the links are on the screen as well as in the chat box. So again, if you could please take time to complete those, we would truly appreciate it. We love to hear from you and know what you're thinking about the webinars we're putting out. And again, like I said, we want to make sure that we're offering you guys helpful information, and we love to hear from you. So thank you again, and I hope you all have a wonderful Turkey Day, a wonderful Thanksgiving, and we look forward to seeing you in the future for our other webinars that'll be coming up. I think our next one is going to be this next Friday, so we'll be glad to have you on. Thank you so much again for joining.